Tube.
Okay, let's wait for it. Wait for it.
Don't go down that road, Stotch.
Don't go down there, Stotch. You won't like what comes
What
back.
you put in the ground doesn't come back.
It's not the. It doesn't come back. I don't want to run away, 'cause I can't. Says you went offline. There's Boosted Monkey. There we go. We're back.
Thanks.
We're back. No offline. We're back. We're back in the U.S. Yeah, there we are. There we are. There we are. There we are. Well, come on. Update on this phone, you gosh darn. We're back. So, for whatever reason, when we run along with Facebook as one of our things, so you were telling me to give up soda and masturbate twice as much. Listen, you need to not Well, okay. So now, if you want to be as cut and lean as a Big Ben Roethlisberger, which is,
you have to go on the spiritual journey that Ben went on.
you have to give up alcohol and you have to give up playing pocket pool. But if you...
At least for a football season.
You have to come... I don't know if you necessarily have to come to terms with some kind of religious awakening. I think it just could be, you could just give it up, right? Right. But mine and Reno's concern was, we don't want you to take for granted that changing out your windshield wiper fluid is sometimes beneficial. Listen, stuff stagnates, man.
You don't want to get that stagnant stuff in there.
No,
man.
Listen, don't drink sitting water, right? So sometimes you just gotta let the stream run. You just gotta let the river flow. This is sports, right?
Sports.
Sports. Today on sports, Big Ben not masturbating. Listen, the title of the to be fair, the title of the streams is Lamar Jackson, Cramps or Craps. So we're about to go down a bad road anyway. Boosted Monkey said, "Come to terms." Yes, stealing. Makes sense. I've met a lot of people that were the sitting water. Yeah. Listen, I think it's completely... I imagine, right? I imagine it's probably a completely different environment is if you never started doing that. And there are some guys that say that, and I don't necessarily believe it. I feel like every now and then you just kind of want to touch what's down there just to see. Like, what's this? What's going on? but I imagine it's different. And so Big Ben, we were saying, probably was spilling. We were probably like, Big Ben was probably spilling seed like he just got out of a birdseed store and had a rip in the bag.
Real. He probably didn't have to do any of that to be spilling his seed. He probably could have somebody doing it every other night of the week.
Big Ben was probably slanging seed faster than Big Bird could handle. But I don't know. I feel like you got to have some regulatory checks. The Saints being the Saints. Reno said a couple weeks ago, because he doesn't stream regularly anymore because he's a prima donna, that the Saints are the Saints, or the Saints will be the Saints. And at the time, I laughed him off and said, there's no way. And then last week, I said, there's no way the Saints lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not possible. It's not physically possible. That's denial. That is Saints denial. Because the Saints will be the Saints. And listen, you can say Taysom Hill this, Taysom Hill that. They have the best defense, and they weren't prepared for a quarterback that we haven't seen throw the ball more than like 12 times this season, but we've seen him run every time he comes in, and he ran for 100 yards. The Saints haven't given up a 100-yard rusher in like a season, and they gave up 2 in a week in a week where they knew the team was going to run.
And of all teams, like, if it was going to happen, I agreed with you that the last time we talked about this, I think anyway, that it was going to be the Falcons. The Falcons are going to be the one to do this, right?
Yep.
And you have the Eagles on there, and they're like, yeah, there's no way they're going to beat the Saints. There's no way. That's not going to happen. The Eagles and the NFC East, because it's so terrible, and they're all just terrible, and it's just, there's no way, right? Yeah, well, here we are.
There was a way, and the way was this. So I don't want to hear I want to hear. So Taysom Hill did not play a great game, right?
He didn't.
I would bet
this ain't his loss, man.
I would bet dollars to donuts or whatever that stupid saying is. I bet that even a whatever you would call a healthy-ish version of Drew Brees. So take out the ribs. Say he still had fine ribs at this point, but
give him one lung.
But he was the same age and had went through 14 weeks of playing football, or 13 weeks of playing football. I think that Drew Brees without broken ribs probably would have still lost this game. Because I don't know. Because the defense lost it. The defense lost it.
Yeah. Because the offense did okay against a bad Eagles defense. So it's hard for me to pin this on the offense because as many points as the Eagles put up, that's not on the offense. No. That's on that defense.
I mean, I just don't get it. Like, you're going up against a team where their offense should be, it's like, hey, Jalen Hurts was used the same way we used Taysom Hill earlier this year. I wonder if he'll be a similar quarterback to what we have in Taysom Hill.
How should we scheme defensively? You know what? Let's just play like Carson Wentz is going to do it.
Yeah, to think that Jalen Hurts is going to come out there and throw the ball on you. Now, granted, he had a fine passing day.
Yeah.
He had a good for, not even a good for college. He had a decent for a school that is not known to pass the ball type game. He had a good high school quarterback performance in the past game, but he ran for 100 yards. And to not think that he was going to run, and I just can't buy you just can't scheme for that. You just can't scheme for that. Yes, you can. It blows my mind, but I knew it was going to happen. I just refused to believe it was going to be the Eagles. I definitely thought it was going to be the Falcons. I thought the Falcons were going to be the ones that did this. So, the Saints, you blew it.
You blew it. You had it all and you blew it.
And it really makes sense for that because they did have at least a running shot,
9-game win streak going
to keep up to snuff with the top of the NFC. But now that's over. Welcome to not having the bye, Saints.
Yeah.
All right, Browns. So safety dance. So I don't know. I don't know if I would say they blew the game because I think the team that probably was the better team won. Granted, the Browns had a spark there. The Browns came in with a lot of positive energy because they've been doing some work. So I don't want to take that away from them.
Yeah, this is not a negative performance for them by any means because they played their ass off. And honestly, I was kind of rooting for them.
But that last play,
that hard to believe.
But that last play should have just took a knee. should have just threw a Hail Mary.
That's what they should have done, yeah.
Because at no point did they make any positive gains in their flea flicker trickery. They consistently started going back to even the announcer saying, "You're going the wrong direction." I mean, what are you doing?
I mean, it's that bad if we got a John Madden up there telling you that.
Yeah, Booger McFarland's like, you can't score to win the game if you go to your own end zone. But now here, maybe this is where they blew it. For the Ravens to cover, they needed to win by more than 3 points. So this safety at the end flipped the switch on a lot of bets. A lot of people that may have been disappointed Browns fans at least still had that ticket stub saying, you know what? I'm at least about to make some money. And then you watch your team run towards their end zone and then kick the ball out of the back of it. And you just lost hundreds, thousands. If you had a sweet parlay going, millions.
Yeah.
That's rough, right?
That's a hard way to go.
So Browns offense, did they blow it? The safety dance, is it a blow, or would you say, man, it was always going to be a shitty thing? They could have thrown a Hail Mary, got an interception, and ran back for a touchdown too. So give them leeway.
I'm gonna go ahead and say they blew it.
Okay, hell yeah, I like to do that because
you blew it. You had it all and you blew it.
Had it all, man. You had it all.
You had it all, you
Blew it. So speaking of the Browns, this is kind of my big thing. Lamar Jackson, did he have cramps and come back like a superhero, or did he have to poop? Did he have the Hershey squirts? Did he have the Taco Bell turnover that he needed to go drop an Apple Brown Betty in the Super Bowl? Did he have Schitt's Creek in his pants and he had to go rectify that? Rectify kind of also sounds like a butt joke too.
You keep using poop jokes.
Rectify does kind of sound like a butt joke.
Sounds like rectum.
It does. Rectum.
Just said rectum on stream.
So, no, but for real though, did Lamar Jackson, do you think he was cramping up? Did you see that video of him running in the back?
Yeah.
They should have never shown that.
Because it was believable until you saw that.
That was not a cramp run.
No. If you were cramping, you wouldn't be moving like that. He was moving with purpose.
I had refried.
Get the heck out of my way. I got to get in this room, man.
I had refried beans, a side of rice, and 3 enchiladas with a lot of queso. That kind of run. That is what that was. I mean, even my wife was like, well, maybe he's nervous. I'm like, yeah, that's not cramps, right?
He's nervous. He might let one go a little too soon.
Like let's be real. Like, I'm not an athlete, right? I'm not an athlete. I'm Joe Schmo hiding out in a closet with goofy kid stuff around and a roll of toilet paper. Because the apocalypse started and I had my roll of toilet paper. So like, I'm not to compare cramps to anything, but listen, man. Back when I did play sports, back in the day of high school, like, dude, if you got a cramp from sports, if you were doing athletic things and got a cramp, not the I'm stretching now because I'm 30-something and tense up. Like, if you had a legitimate cramp because you were, dehydrated,
yeah.
Just whatever, you got hit wrong, like, you're not doing that cutesy little trot down the hallway.
Feeling.
You're not doing that.
A crippling feeling.
He did a little cutesy jaunt into the locker room. ESPN set him up to fail because as soon as that video popped, it no longer became just kind of I bet he had to poop. It literally became he had to poop.
Yeah.
He had to poop or pee.
He had stomach cramps is what he had. He didn't have actual cramps.
He had so like. And I don't think that's a big deal, right? Like, I don't think it's a big deal. Like, honestly,
don't try to play it off.
It honestly surprises me more so that more players at any level, like we see this more in baseball, right? Which still doesn't happen often enough, but where a baseball player will like not be ready to go because they went back into the clubhouse, they went to that little bathroom hideaway spot in the dugout. But like, it's not a big deal. But he is going to ride that train of it's cramps. But when the day he comes out to say, listen, I had to poop.
I was taking a number 2.
He's lost a lot of respect in my eyes. For whatever that matters.
Blew it.
For whatever that matters. I guess we could do that. It's not one of these things.
You blew it. You had it all
he blew
and you
it
blew
though in the both figurative and
he could have been the hero of our time. He could have been the 2020. Listen, out of any year, if you needed to have no excuse for why you missed 2 of the most defining potential drives of your game and season, it's 2020, and that reason is poop.
I had to take a dump, man.
That's the most.
Sorry.
Listen, if you lose, you could never admit that it wasn't anything other than cramps.
Yeah.
At that point, you're now having to go down the role of like, Altuve from the Astros, where it was like, I didn't have the monitor thing in my chest. I actually got a tattoo that my wife didn't approve of, so I didn't want my shirt exposed. And then like you have to go out and get that tattoo now. So it's just like, listen, man, I just want him to come clean. I just want him to flush it all out.
Just say you pooped, man.
Just
do it.
Who does number 2 work for? That said,
who does number 2 work for?
That said, the Browns versus the Ravens on Monday Night Football, probably the best roller coastery Monday Night Football game of the season.
One of the few Monday night games that I've stayed up and watched.
It was legitimate. That fourth quarter, man. And then the cramps or craps. You actually had now you had this added thing of, oh no, like the Ravens don't have their quarterback, who was literally.
Oh, Twitter went wild with it too, man. They they were talking about it in the game, like, oh, everybody's tweeting about this, and I'm like, really?
I mean, that you lose that quarterback, and it's like, oh no, like there's no way they win, because if you broke down their offense before T Swirl got in there, it was Lamar Jackson. It was Lamar Jackson for throwing for 2 yards
and running for 80.
And running for 80 and having the first or the second touchdown, the first touchdown for his team of the game. So it was pretty rough. Can I ask a question, Reno, and you give me kind of an honest answer if you have it?
Well, of course you can, sir. And of course I will.
So we crapped. I'm sorry about a poop joke while we're talking about whether he had cramps or crap.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no poo intended. So I couldn't keep a straight face. So I'm a little stinker. So we gave such a hard time to the Packers, who didn't draft any offensive help at the receiving position for their quarterback. But the Ravens haven't done anything either. Right? The Ravens don't have a what you would look at and say a traditional receiving unit of like a Green Bay, of like a, well, I mean, probably like a Green Bay, probably honestly closer to a Green Bay. But they have Devontae Adams, right? At least Green Bay, out of all of their receiving woes, they have their number one stud. You can look at Dallas, Amari Cooper, their number one stud. Baltimore Ravens.
Can you tell me a receiver on their team?
Well, so they've got Hollywood Brown, but he missed everything. He had a ball that he was wide open. It was with T Swirly in there, and it hit him in the elbow, man. Like, he didn't even try to put his hands out there to catch it. By the way, not that this matters to anyone, but Aaron Rodgers said, if you're a receiver and you catch with your hands, guess what? You're probably going to get more looks from me. I think that's probably a universal thing. Like, there are so many people that catch in the chest. And I get it, right? I get it. In high school, I was a receiver. And that ball coming at you, there's a lot of panic, right? And you want to get that, you want that to hit your center mass and hope to God it doesn't fly out. Because sometimes that ball comes out a little quick and your hands are about to get brutalized for it. But if you're a receiver at the professional level and you're not making an attempt with your hands, you're not a number one receiver.
Yeah.
And so Hollywood Brown isn't a number one receiver. After that, they've got Willie Snead, who was really hot in 2015 when he was back on the Texans, the Saints, one of those teams.
Texans.
Yeah, Texans first, and then he went to the Saints and didn't make any noise. And then outside of that, it's what, the former TCU quarterback, right? Boykins.
Yeah.
Boykin.
Boykin.
Their number one receiver is Mark Andrews, which is a tight end, which is not a legitimate number one receiver. That, no offense to Travis Kelce fans, no offense to the previous Rob Gronkowski fans. Like, listen, if your number one receiver is your tight end, you don't have a number one receiver. It's the same way if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one quarterback, which some teams have learned the hard way this year. So I don't. Why are we not coming down a little bit harder on the Ravens for not drafting or looking for? Granted, their draft position would be a little bit more wonky, but there were still, I think, T. Higgins was still available into the second round. Shellnut, whatever the guy that went to the Jaguars, who's doing pretty good this season for them. Yeah. Granted, you never know who's throwing a pass there. He was also around. There were a couple of receivers from the second round that are making some noise. And it's just like, this team did nothing to help Lamar Jackson through the one deficit that everyone kind of shits on him for, right? And that's he's not a passer. Well, it's hard to be a passer when you have one guy that can catch the football, and that guy just came
that drop it,
and that guy just came back from 2-week break of COVID related fun.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, I don't know. And Mark Andrews wasn't even really involved. He wasn't really involved until like the fourth quarter when he got like a 40-yard pass, which I was using him for daily fantasy, so I was super excited to have that. I thought you said you were getting rid of Reno. WTF. I'm sorry, Milkman. I'm sorry. I tried to, but I
get rid of you.
I can't quit him.
Hey, Milkman, did you take my advice on food?
Oh, what was your advice for him?
Remember he texted us in a group text asking about
food.
He was
and you
coming
said
up
barbecue, and then he
bro.
said that he didn't want barbecue.
I thought I texted something back. I may not have.
Yeah, I don't think you did in the group. If you did, I ignored it, Reno, because I ignore you. Boosted Monkey says, Reno!
Yeah.
Okay, so NFL Week 15 playoff cases, bonehead losses, and cream rising to the top, unless you're Ben Roethlisberger and the cream staying in the barn, man.
He's stirring that cream down to the bottom.
Cream is aging. It's some curdling,
Stagnant.
some curdling of the cream.
We just can't get away from that subject.
We should though. So do you want to do our looking at the good, average, ugly, or do you want to do the NFC East race to worst? Reno, which one do you want to go with?
Dealer's choice, man. I could do either one.
Milkman says we ended up getting food from an Italian place in Bentonville. It was meh. Yeah, dude, Italian food can be kind of risque, right? It's a little bit tough.
Noodles, meh.
I don't know. I like Giraldi's, but it's like a weird. It's a weird spot to get it right. Like it's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta. You might have a parking spot if you go there.
Yeah, you gotta come in to almost campus, and then like it's a bad parking situation. But like it's good food. Good food.
It was really good food.
That's kind of my thing, Milk. I wish I could have like given you like some better. I wish I could have given you something, but like if it's not Mexican food, I'm not trying.
He doesn't care.
If it's not Mexican food, I'm not trying. Ate at a place called Postafino last week. Amazing. There's apparently some place in Springdale called like Chicken House. Apparently it's got some good food.
AQ Chicken House?
Yeah, AQ Chicken House. Do you like it?
You've never eaten at AQ Chicken House?
No, but I can't remember. I think it was when we had Carter. One of our friends from Springdale brought us some catered food, and it was from there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Dude, you need to go there. You need to go there with your family, and you need to get the something over the coals chicken.
Something over the coals chicken.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's something over the coals, and it is mom.
Jeez Louise, man, go eat their chicken. All right, Boosted Monkey's also yelling at me. I guess I got to do it. Yeah, no, like they got like I don't know. I forget.
If you want to have it a friend date, I'll go meet you for a friend date.
Man, Reno, I miss our friend dates, honestly.
We haven't been to a movie in like 3 years. It seems like.
I know, man. Friend dates are sad. I've given up on you, like Ben Roethlisberger's given up on touching his magic wand. Man, it's sad.
We can't get away from it, man.
I can't quit you. Oh, good Lord.
Guess I'll die.
Well, there's a whole lot going on here, so let me actually turn off this camera to ignite the passions of this camera. Okay, so what I want to do is I
know Boosted Monkey likes some AQ chicken.
I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to do it now, man, right?
It's good, man. It's good. So they used to have one in Fayetteville, but it's now like I think they're turning it into a bank or something.
Yeah, everything's turning into a bank here.
Yeah, I know. It's so annoying.
All right.
Give me a steak place or something.
Let's see. Where's the Reno picture so I can get that off?
Yeah.
Reno face.
Had a luscious beard in that picture.
You got a lot going on in that picture, Reno. I'm not gonna lie.
Beard. It's pretty nice and full.
All right, let's hide. There we are, Reno. There we are. Okay, Reno. So I actually admitted this to myself against, again, an audience of one last week when it was just me talking. You've actually done a respectably good job, Reno, with your estimations for how the NFC East, by far the worst division in professional and maybe college football, is gonna operate. So right now, you were almost perfect with the Eagles so far, but I gave you this out. I gave you this out last week. I said we weren't, when me and you made these predictions a month ago, we didn't realize Jalen Hurts was coming in, right? And I don't know if that would have changed.
This was the impression that Carson Wentz was going to finish the season.
So I don't know if that would have changed what you were going to be doing with your guesses, but
it might have, but it wouldn't have
for the New Orleans ones. Yeah, no, I agree.
My pick would have stayed the same there, but maybe it might have changed for a couple of the other ones, like maybe the Dallas or Washington game, but.
So this week we have New York Giants versus Cleveland. You said they weren't going to win that game. I feel like you're still right with that. I think Cleveland. So listen, this is where Cleveland could get in trouble. Cleveland has to determine whether they're going to come out after this heartbreaking loss to the crap gate that was the Baltimore Ravens Monday Night Football game. Yeah. As the Las Vegas Raiders, which is a team for now what seemingly looks like two seasons have given up in the home stretch. So the Raiders started out hot last year, went to crap in the final 6 games. They're kind of going to crap right now too. So Cleveland has to come out of this and they either beat the Giants as they should, or Cleveland has began
completely the wheels have fallen off.
Yeah, this is the moment they put everything on the line to win that, and now they're just going to collapse. Now you have the Dallas Cowboys 4-9, so not technically mathematically eliminated yet. They are, however, one Washington football team win away from being mathematically eliminated.
Yes.
So that one's rough. But you said would win this week against San Francisco.
Dude, I don't feel good about that one after their loss last week. Like, I don't feel good about that pick now.
Well,
I feel like they're going to come out ready to roll because the Cowboys, they had a pretty easy week this past week. So
I want to remind you, I think the Cowboys should win this game because I think the San Francisco 49ers, even if they had every player available to them right now, is not a good team and was never going to succeed. Like the color purple, everything they touch would die until they do right by me, and they weren't going to do right by me. So, this was not going to be a team to win. Now, granted, I could easily see the Cowboys losing this game because the Cowboys going to do what the Cowboys going to do.
So.
But I hope they win to at least keep it interesting. The Eagles with Jalen Hurts going against Arizona Cardinals, who will be essentially playing the same offensive scheme because Kyler Murray is Hurts. Yeah, so he's going to probably run more, right? Or maybe not run. He's just not going to throw very well because he's got that shoulder injury, which he's saying it's not a big deal. It's clearly a big deal. They were able to beat the Giants last week, so I don't know what that means for anything. Do you think the Eagles win this game, or do you think your prediction's going to stay the same?
I think my prediction is going to stay the same there.
All right. I agree with you.
I think Arizona's going to end up being. I think your defense is going to be really well against old Mr. Hurts next week.
No, so
because they're not going to do what the Saints did. They're going to prepare for him running the ball, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and then you've got, I guess, the cream of the crop, right? You have the Washington football team.
6-7.
You have Washington football team, and I said this last week, or I don't know if I said this last week. I was thinking it at one point. The Washington football team has a chance, if they win out, to end up with a respectable record for the representation of the playoff team. They would be 9-7. And at that point, you can't crap on the NFC East. 9-7 is typically where the low ball division comes in at, right? Would it be wild to have a 9-7 NFC East team?
That would be wild.
For as bad as long as they were, so bad, like for a team to get out with a winning record, I think would cause so much cognitive dissonance in football. It's just like we can't describe this.
What is going on? No one understands anything. The NFL is a lie.
So my only justification for anything having to do with the Washington football team right now is this: Alex Smith is karma incarnate, and their coach beat cancer. So like, if a team was going to come out,
good things going for them, man.
There's
a lot of positive energy in the Washington football team right now. For as bad of a year as it's been, I mean,
now there is.
How can you not like this? How can you not root for this team?
There is one.
I'm a Cowboy fan, and I'm rooting for him.
What's
wrong with that?
There is one stormy cloud hanging overhead, and that's the potential Dwayne Haskins starting against Seattle. Dwayne Haskins starts against Seattle, and Gibson is still dealing with turf toe. They lose that game.
I was going to say they lose that game regardless.
Okay. Okay. Listen, man.
Even if Alex Smith starts, I really don't think they're going to be enough to beat Seattle.
If Seattle was consistent, I would feel better about it. But
so that's what I was going to say. I feel like they've been down, and I feel like they're going to come back in this game and really come out and show their stuff. So that's the only reason I say that. But.
Yeah, Seattle beats bad teams like they should, and then are a coin flip for anyone that might be a playoff team.
They might go out and play just god awful against like the Saints, and then turn around and play the Steelers and just be the best team in football.
Yeah,
it's
we'll
stupid.
see. We'll see. So I'm rooting for you, Reno. I hope Washington loses, so that way we have another week of suspense that maybe the Cowboys make it in.
Oh.
If the Cowboys win, they stay alive. Realistically, the Cowboys need everyone else to lose out in this division.
Yeah, they need some help.
And they need to win out.
Have a shot.
But one more Washington football team win, and they are mathematically eliminated. I am sorry. Everyone else still technically has hope. And the Eagles, and it bugs me to no end, because they have the tie. Have better headway if things shake their way to end up as the playoff team, which is rough. It's just rough to think about. It's just rough.
Honestly, I kind of secretly hope that the Cowboys just blow these games and lose. So
just be done with it. Get better draft spot.
Yeah. I mean, that's what else do you have to hope for at this point? I mean, you're just waiting, hitting the wait button until Dak comes back and we ever restart for next year.
So true. Do you like I put your face on the? I guess
I did. I did. I thought that was hilarious. Guess I'll die.
All right. So I removed the Steelers immediately after they lost the first time. And then for game of the week, I had a choice between Bills and Steelers or Chiefs and Dolphins, and I said I thought the Chiefs and Dolphins would be the better game because I thought the Dolphins had a better chance to win, and I thought the Steelers might have been a little bit overhyped. And it turns out I was right, so I'm a genius.
Pay me money because I'm so smart.
So I'm a smarty. And the Steelers are a good team, right?
It's a dummy.
They're a good team. So right now, our cream of the crop is Green Bay, which I don't know if I feel really strong on that.
I don't feel good about that.
I get swayed every time Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers can do, which is win tremendously in spite of his coach not wanting him to be the starting quarterback, in spite of his organization not preparing this year for him to be a successful quarterback, and everything else that's going against him. So, I'm not strong about that, but I mean, I think technically, are they the cream of the crop of the NFC East? I'm not NFC East, the NFC, right?
Probably.
I think they're at the top. They at the top. They are at the. Yeah, they're at the top, so I think they have the tiebreaker over the Saints. So, I mean, I hate to just agree with how things are shaping up. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more intuitiveness to it. we probably should have rocked the Steelers out, but it felt wrong going against an undefeated team. But now that they got that loss, I could toss them anywhere. And I did some moving. So I moved Washington to average. I don't know, man. I think one more win from Washington, I'm putting them in good.
I'm all for it. I mean,
everyone
more
else,
power to them. They need to keep positive trending, man.
Everyone else, let's see. We can move the Chargers over here. The Chargers gave up, man. The Chargers have given up on this year.
It's over.
Anthony Lynn is about to be fired. Anthony Lynn is going to on that Black Friday for coaches. Anthony Lynn's gone, and if he's not,
something's wrong.
That organization has to come out and say, here's what here is the reason why, because once that report broke that he told his team 2 weeks ago, hey, listen, we're out of the playoff hunt, when they weren't mathematically out of the playoff hunt, and then they proceeded to be beaten by the worst New England Patriots team in the last decade by 40-something points, he should have been fired then.
Yeah, he should have fired him on the spot.
But now it's just getting bad. I think I feel better now about the Rams being a good team. So I guess maybe that's what we should do. In the good column, is there any team that doesn't belong to be in there right now?
The Raiders.
Okay, I think that's fair. Average or ugly?
Average at this point.
Average. Baltimore? Should we put them?
I think they stay right where they're at.
Right where they're at. Tennessee?
You could probably put them on the same line as the Ravens, I would think.
Okay, so we'll get them off there. Anyone from the average that needs to be moved out or over to good?
I think we're
good with everything else.
I'm good with everything.
Anything you want to change with the cream? I think Kansas City is clearly the cream of the AFC.
I mean,
probably the cream. This is probably what we should do.
They're the cream of the league, is what they are.
Yeah, this is probably what we should do, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not even close.
Oh well, then I should make it visually not close. Kind of looks now like they're average, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it kind of seems like they're the mascot for average now.
Yeah, well, I don't want that. So we'll do them off to the side. They're a stepping stone for the Chief ascendancy, and I hate it for the Chiefs fans, right? Like you don't want to feel like you're the overwhelming favorite going into the playoffs, because that tends to be the team that loses, right?
Yeah.
I've seen plenty.
Get some unnecessary pressure there.
Yeah. So, but they'll get the buy-in. I feel like for them, that's not as much of a necessary thing. The Pittsburgh Steelers needed that round one bye because they had their bye week like week 3 and have been playing football for a consecutive. Going to be for like consecutive 15 straight weeks of NFL football, and then go into the playoffs and without a break. So Steelers have really ruined that opportunity.
Ruined.
For the NFC, I don't know who necessarily needs. I guess any one of them could use it. I guess that's probably.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think things are becoming a little bit clearer in the picture for this.
Starting to focus a little bit.
So we got that. We didn't start off talking college football. Do you want to talk any college football? Is there anything compelling?
Not really.
Let's see. Oregon.
Unless you want to talk about, really the only thing to talk about is Ohio State and their 5 wins, or their 5 games. Do they belong in?
So again,
that's really it.
Again, I feel like if they would have just had more games.
Yeah.
And this isn't their fault.
Schedule some games. There'll be some people out there that want to play you.
And a lot of this isn't their fault. The Big Ten thought they were going to be holier than thou. We have all the secret science going into this COVID season, and our secret science that you all dumb general population doesn't have says that we can't play football. And they thought they were going to be touted as heroes and be Times Person of the Year for doing this, and they looked foolish. And because of that, they started late, and they had no wiggle room and no plan in place for if COVID. It should have been if COVID. It should have been when COVID ran through their program. Right? Like, you can't, I think the one thing that's very clear right now outside of the NBA's bubble scenario is you shouldn't be planning for if COVID. You should have a plan in place for when COVID. So,
And then they look even more foolish when Ohio State gets more games canceled and they have to have 6 wins to win the conference. And, no, they don't have to have that. Just kidding.
So,
we don't want to lose out at our chance for the college football playoff.
So I'm going to say this, and listen, I get that Michigan has still been canceling games. I think Michigan was never, once they saw that they could screw over Ohio State, was never going to play that game.
That was intentional.
Was
100%.
never going to play that game.
No.
Bigger tomfoolery. Ohio State getting free pass to be in their conference championship game, or Oregon being added to their conference championship game because Washington couldn't play.
Yeah. I mean,
listen, I love it because this gives, so Oregon is a 2-loss team, and kudos to Oregon. Now Oregon has the chance to be that first nasty loss to USC to knock them out of any talking points for anything. So they're not in a talking point, but they are ranked 13th, so they could easily be in one of those New Year's Six bowls or the big bowl games. So I want them eliminated from that. I want them gone from that too.
They don't deserve it. Play more games.
So what I want to do next, or not, whenever we do sports stream again, Reno, because we probably aren't going to stream next week, or do you want to stream next week?
Probably nay.
Okay, so the week after that, probably? Like December 28th, 29th?
I don't know. Because I think I've got those days off, so I don't know if I'm going to be in Ozark or not.
Okay, so
we'll talk about it.
So whenever we do it again, whenever we have a sports stream again, I want to look at, so ESPN or someone made brackets for a 32 Division I FBS playoff, a 16, and an 18. And I want to look at what those brackets would look like, and you and us discuss whether, 1, we would enjoy that, 2, it makes any sense, 3, the probability of it ever happening, which is low, I get. But, I am curious because I saw...
We can at least enjoy talking about it and go down that rabbit hole.
I've seen the 16-1 because, again, Pat McAfee did it, and I've been watching a lot of Pat McAfee. I'm becoming one of his boys, I think. And they went through a 16-1. And let's be real, there were some really not attractive games. But, I don't know, man. Like, especially, so their rationale was... in this year, when there's probably going to be some teams, because we've already seen it, right? We've already seen some teams that are bowl eligible say, we're not playing bowl games. Like, we're not doing that. So, and the way they had the bowl games set up as part of the representation for those matchups during the rounds, I'm like, that's smart. Why wouldn't you do it that way? So we can talk about that. So college football, really anything. The games this week: Oregon versus USC on Friday, Northwestern versus Ohio State. Ohio State is
talk about your picture up there.
Is a 20-point favorite. Dude, did you see the video for that?
That's nuts, dude.
Maxual madness. The MAC is probably the shining bright spot of FBS. They started late, but they started their season late, but they were a sideshow circus from the onset. They play on Tuesdays, which is weird. They just do off the wall stuff, and then their Western representation, again, Western Michigan versus Ball State, comes down to flea flicker madness, which we saw not work with the Browns. Turns out it doesn't work there either. And then the benches clear in the middle of the flea flicker madness. And then it appears that Western Michigan, through the field being rushed, was able to score a touchdown, but then it come to find out, no, they didn't. And actually, I've seen the clip a lot where people say, like, at this certain mark, you see a guy in front of the line of scrimmage throw a forward pass. So at that point, the play should have been called dead. So I don't know, Reno.
Yeah.
What'd
It was
you
wild.
what'd you think
it
about
was fun while it happened, dude. Watching it happen, it was. You didn't know what was going to happen.
Oh, that's
like, yeah, this is
anarchy.
great.
That's anarchy.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
that and that one episode where the band comes out on the field. I forget who was playing that game where the band comes out in the field. Or
Colorado, I feel like.
beast mode jumping in the back of a golf cart driving off. Like, man, this is going to be one of those moments where, again, if you're looking for a representation of 2020 in the sports world, that is college football right there. That video, if you have not seen the video of the ending of Western Michigan Ball State, literally just Google search the ending of Western Michigan and Ball State, and the top videos will be the video you're looking for, and it is wild, man. It is wild. It looks pretty benign. It's they're just trying to do the laterals to try to get something open, and then all of a sudden people start coming out onto the field. It's like, what
is happening?
And then a touchdown is scored, but then they're not given the touchdown. Oh man, to be at that game had to be the most mind-boggling experience ever. Let's see. Reno, you got any big, thick predictions? No?
No.
Just me? Just me? Let's see. Let me look at the...
Maybe if I was Big Ben, I would, but I'm not
Hey!
Big Ben, so.
Hey! Hey! Let's see. Any Week 15 games that seem spicy. Chargers, Raiders, Panthers, Packers, Bills, Broncos, 49ers, Cowboys. Sorry, Reno. Chiefs, Saints. Up until last week, I felt better about this game, but right now I'm giving it old. Buccaneers, Falcons. Watch that be the game the Falcons win. Lions, Titans. Texans, Colts. Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins need to win that game. Dolphins can't lose that game. Bears.
They gotta win that one.
Bears, Vikings. Seahawks, Washington. A good game. Jaguars, Ravens. Jets, Rams. Eagles, Cardinals. There's just not a good game, right?
It's not a good week.
There's not a good game. Listen, if Joe Burrow was still around for the Bengals-Steelers game, I would pick Joe Burrow to win that game.
Dude, it's so sad that he's not playing. Like, ugh.
Yeah, Brandon Allen doesn't have the firepower.
Brandon Allen's not. He's
not doing bad.
Replacement.
Yeah, no, he's not.
No, he's not.
He's not doing bad, but he does not have the firepower to beat the Steelers, even though the Steelers play down to their opponents. They also don't have their starting running back in Joe Mixon, so that's definitely not going to help. So
Not help Brandon at all.
let's see. Jets Rams does feel like a game that the Jets might win.
I would lol so hard.
Jaguars Ravens kind of feels like a game they could win. Washington Seahawks. Maybe that's where we'll go. My big prediction, Washington football team will beat the Seahawks. Washington football team will beat the Seahawks, ruin the Dallas Cowboys' dreams, ruin the rest of the NFC East dreams, and claim pretty much sole ownership at that point of the NFC spot. The Dolphins, my prediction there is if the Dolphins don't win that game, they aren't making the playoffs. So this is long-term booking, right? This is 3 weeks out in advance. If the Dolphins get swept by the New England Patriots this season, which losing this game means they get swept, I don't think they make the playoffs. Right now they're in a wild card spot, and there are a lot of teams chomping at the bit to be one of those 3 wild cards. The AFC is loaded, and they are not going to be. They're not going to be one. They're not going to be one if they lose to the Patriots. If they get swept by the Patriots this season. Texans, Colts, let's be real. Colts should win that game, but that does look like a game the Texans can win. That does look like a game the Texans can win. I don't know why. The Texans just win stupid games like that.
No, they're so... Oh, it's so bad.
Let's see.
It's so bad. If I'm the Texans owner, I'm telling him to bench Deshaun Watson so he doesn't get hurt for next year when he has a new coach and everything else at this point.
I think that's fair. So no predictions for Reno, right? No big thick predictions. So then let's play the shame game, and I'm just gonna shame someone, Reno, and you can agree or disagree. I'm shaming the Duke Blue Devils of the college basketball fame, and maybe Coach K. So Duke actually has canceled the rest of their non-conference schedule, but let's be real. And another coach called him out for this and said, if you think Duke would have done the same thing if they were undefeated in their non-conference schedule, I think that's a very valid question, and I don't. I think if Duke hadn't lost the game to Illinois and lost the game to, who was the other team? It was another ranked team, right?
Yeah.
I forget who it was. So it's not like they were bad losses, right? But they were home losses. They were home non-conference losses, and apparently Duke, for safety reasons, just doesn't want to play anymore. And this is a wacky year too in basketball. You got Richmond upsetting Kentucky. You've got, so didn't lose, but you had the University of Central Arkansas playing very competitively with the University of Arkansas.
Yeah.
So it's been one of the.
Had you worried at least for a little while there?
You have Kansas State losing to a team that, I shit you not, I thought was a high school looking at their initials. It was like Fort Hays State University. So I saw just the HS, and I'm like, did they lose to a high school team? Did they play an exhibition game to a high school team? So you have Kansas State, probably a team that, people think might make a big dance because Big 12 usually has a pretty decent caliber roster. Not this year, it seems like. I think they've only got 2 or 3 teams in the top 25, but still 64, 68 teams. You would think Kansas State probably has pedigree to get in. Loses to Fort Hays State University. I don't even know what that is.
Or where that's at.
Yeah, like this could be DeVry University, and
online college.
I would feel this could be Grand Canyon University, and I would feel like, oh, okay, I understand that better than losing to Fort Hays, the school of the gifted and blind. Fort Hays, State University.
The school for the gifted and blind.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's just wild to me. So, Coach K canceling Mike Krzyzewski. Shame, man, dude, straight up shame. Like,
yeah,
there's no way he would be concerned for safety if they were 4-0 right now. But because they're 2-2, he suddenly is. Well, this is I don't know if we. And now he's even talking about, I don't know how we could. This season it's worrisome. Man, stop.
We've already got a football season under our belt basically at this point.
And
we made it out just fine.
And we already have to tolerate enough of Dabo Swinney's whining.
Whiny bullcrap.
Whiny. Dude, I don't know what happened to Dabo Swinney, but I really liked him up until last year when he started doing well, you all thought we were going to lose. What can we do? Like, ever since that moment, it just seems like every week he does a new poor pitiful me, or you never thought we could do it. And it's just like, dude, shut up. Yeah. You're in the playoffs.
Let your play do the talking. Like, just leave the politics to the freaking fans. Like,
dude, he has let fame, he has let national championships go to his head. And listen, I probably would too. But dude, it for a guy that seemed like he was that tough, no nonsense, only care about the players, love the players, give it up for God. All of that, great. Keep that up. Be that man. Yeah. Don't come out here every week and tell us
complaining about Alabama and
oh my gosh, yeah, it doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. You're in
Ohio State and what's going on with them, like
you lost a game. You lost a game and stayed in the top 4.
You didn't move.
Yeah.
Because your quarterback had COVID.
Yeah, so dude, stop. It doesn't, I don't know, man. If his team was knocked out of the top 4, I then understand. But he starts campaigning because he thinks there's even